mortals of the transient or experiential adjuster sojourn. This series designation is temporary for any evolving planet, being used during the early stages of all inhabited worlds except those of the second series. Mortals of Series 1 inhabit the worlds of space during the earlier epochs of the evolution of mankind and embrace the most primitive types of human minds. On many worlds, like pre-Adamic Urantia, great numbers of the higher and more advanced types of primitive men acquire survival capacity but fail to attain adjuster fusion. For ages upon ages, before man's ascent to the level of higher spiritual volition, the adjusters occupy the minds of these struggling creatures during their short lives in the flesh, and the moment such will creatures are indwelt by adjusters, the group guardian angels begin to function. While these mortals of the first series do not have personal guardians, they do have group custodians. An experiential adjuster remains with a primitive human being throughout his entire lifetime in the flesh. The adjusters contribute much to the advancement of primitive men, but are unable to form eternal unions with such mortals. This transient ministry of the adjusters accomplishes two things. First, they gain valuable and actual experience in the nature and working of the evolutionary intellect, an experience which will be invaluable in connection with later contacts on other worlds with beings of higher development. Second, the transient sojourn of the adjusters contributes much towards preparing their mortal subjects for possible subsequent spirit fusion. All God-seeking souls of this type achieve eternal life through the spiritual embrace of the Mother Spirit of the local universe, thus becoming ascending mortals of the local universe regime. Many persons from pre-Adamic Urantia were thus advanced to the mansion worlds of Satania. The gods who ordained that mortal man should climb to higher levels of spiritual intelligence through long ages of evolutionary trials and tribulations take note of his status and needs at every stage of the ascent, and always are they divinely fair and just, even charmingly merciful, in the final judgments of these struggling mortals of the early days of the evolving races. Series 2. Mortals of the non-adjuster fusion types. These are specialized types of human beings who are not able to effect eternal union with their indwelling adjusters. Type classification among the 1, 2, and 3-brained races is not a factor in adjuster fusion. All such mortals are akin, but these non-adjuster fusion types are a wholly different and markedly modified order of will creatures. Many of the non-breathers belong to this series, and there are numerous other groups who do not ordinarily fuse with adjusters. Like Series Number 1, each member of this group enjoys the ministry of a single adjuster during lifetime in the flesh. During temporal life, these adjusters do everything for their subjects of temporary indwelling that is done on other worlds where the mortals are of fusion potential. The mortals of this second series are often indwelt by virgin adjusters, but the higher human types are often in liaison with masterful and experienced monitors. In the ascendant plan for upstepping the animal origin creatures, these beings enjoy the same devoted service of the sons of God as is extended to the Urantia type of mortals. Seraphic cooperation with adjusters on the non-fusion planets is just as fully provided as on the worlds of fusion potential. The guardians of destiny minister on such spheres just as on Urantia, and similarly function at the time of mortal survival, at which time the surviving soul becomes spirit-fused. When you encounter these modified mortal types on the mansion worlds, you will find no difficulty in communicating with them. There they speak the same system language, but by a modified technique. These beings are identical with your order of creature life in spirit and personality manifestations, differing only in certain physical features and in the fact that they are non-fusible with thought adjusters. As to just why this type of creature is never able to fuse with the adjusters of the Universal Father, I am unable to say. Some of us incline to the belief that the life carriers, in their efforts to formulate beings capable of maintaining existence in an unusual planetary environment, are confronted with the necessity of making such radical modifications in the universe plan of intelligent will creatures that it becomes inherently impossible to bring about permanent union with the adjusters. Often have we asked, is this an intended or an unintended part of the ascension plan? But we have not found the answer. Series 3. Mortals of Adjuster Fusion Potential. All father-fused mortals are of animal origin, just like the Urantia races. They embrace mortals of the one-brained, two-brained, and three-brained types of adjuster fusion potential. Urantians are of the intermediate or two-brained type, being in many ways humanly superior to the one-brained groups, but definitely limited in comparison with the three-brained orders. These three types of physical brain endowment are not factors in adjuster bestowal, in seraphic service, or in any other phase of spirit ministry. The intellectual and spiritual differential between the three brain types characterizes individuals who are otherwise quite alike in mind endowment and spiritual potential, being greatest in the temporal life and tending to diminish as the mansion worlds are traversed one by one. From the system headquarters on, the progression of these three types is the same, and their eventual paradise destiny is identical. The Unnumbered Series. These narratives cannot possibly embrace all of the fascinating variations in the evolutionary worlds. You know that every 10th world is a decimal or experimental planet, but you know nothing of the other variables that punctuate the processional of the evolutionary spheres. There are differences too numerous to narrate even between the revealed orders of living creatures as between planets of the same group, but this presentation makes clear the essential differences in relation to the ascension career, and the ascension career is the most important factor in any consideration of the mortals of time and space. As to the chances of mortal survival, let it be made forever clear. All souls of every possible phase of mortal existence will survive, provided they manifest willingness to cooperate with their indwelling adjusters and exhibit a desire to find God and to attain divine perfection, even though these desires be but the first faint flickers of the primitive comprehension of that true light which lights every man who comes into the world. 6. The Faith Sons of God. The mortal races stand as the representatives of the lowest order of intelligent and personal creation. You mortals are divinely beloved, and every one of you may choose to accept the certain destiny of a glorious experience, but you are not yet by nature of the divine order. You are wholly mortal. You will be reckoned as ascending sons the instant fusion takes place, but the status of the mortals of time and space is that of faith sons prior to the event of the final amalgamation of the surviving mortal soul with some type of eternal and immortal spirit. It is a solemn and supernal fact that such lowly and material creatures as Urantia human beings are the sons of God, faith children of the highest. Behold what manner of love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. As many as received him, to them gave he the power to recognize that they are the sons of God. While it does not yet appear what you shall be, even now you are the faith sons of God, for you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you have received the spirit of sonship, whereby you cry, Our Father. Spoke the prophet of old in the name of the eternal God, Even to them will I give in my house a place, and a name better than sons. I will give them an everlasting name, one that shall not be cut off. And because you are sons, God has sent forth the Spirit of His Son into your hearts. All evolutionary worlds of mortal habitation harbor these faith sons of God, sons of grace and mercy, mortal beings belonging to the divine family and accordingly called the sons of God. Urantia mortals are entitled to regard themselves as being the sons of God because 1. You are sons of spiritual promise, faith sons. You have accepted the status of sonship. You believe in the reality of your sonship, and thus does your sonship with God become eternally